Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
G'day everyone. It is great to be back for another episode of the GiddyUp Podcast. But Donnie, this is not any old GiddyUp Podcast. This is bang smack in the middle of the Olympics. How are you doing?
Mate, I tell you what, I have been an absolute... I've got bags under my eyes. I'm doing stuff all asleep. It's like the Olympics are cute, but only when they're in our time zone, JT. Otherwise, they suck ass. Seriously, it's not good for Australians. We're losing way too much sleep, but geez, hasn't the stories? Aren't the stories? Haven't the Aussies just delivered in a way that I don't think we've seen? We had a bit of an interesting experience last game around COVID and all that sort of stuff. But this time, I tell you what, this is our Olympic podcast series. We're just going to talk just about everything to do with the Olympics. And if it's not to do with the Olympics, it's observations during watching the Olympics. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we've come up with for tonight's show. I know there's some things that are, there's some controversy. There's some humorous stuff. And there's some absolute classic Aussie behaviour that, well, I want to find out what the listeners think. I would love to. This tonight is something that you and I both really want to. We've always got an opinion, mate, but this is the one where we want to find out what's floating your boat out there in Olympic land, in your lounge room, if you're tuned in. When have you jumped out of the couch and gone, yeah, and when have you just gone, oh, that was shit, So, mate, I am loving it, in short.
I would expect nothing less, Donnie. So I must admit, I have missed. I've been a little bit... I've watched what I can, but I've been down in the beautiful Tasmania for the last 4 days with the beautiful Nat celebrating her 50th. So we've tuned in where we can, but we've also been out exploring the wilderness of all things Tassie. So I've missed a fair bit of the last 4 days or so. But other than that, I reckon I'm sort of right up with what's going on. But as you said, I'm looking forward to our listeners sharing a little bit about some of the stuff they've picked up. And I mean, because there has been, like any Olympics, there's been lots of controversy. There's been some bloody great moments. There's been some pretty shit moments too. Let's not... we need to call a spade a spade. There's been some pretty disappointing performances as well from the Aussies. So we're going to unpack it all. And, what better way just to kick things off, Donnie? I reckon we just get straight into, mate, the bizarre news, because there's been, a fair bit that's been coming up. So let's hit the stinger.
Bizarre news story.
Well, not that stinger, Donnie. Now, it's going to be one of those shows already, isn't it? It's like,
I already like this show. We've got the Avards in town. They've reached out and said hello. We've got your mum's in there saying audio's perfect, but everything else is up the shit, which is perfect because that's GiddyUp Podcast.
Never in doubt, your mum, that the audio was never always going to be perfect. So, all right, here we go. I got it right this time. And to be fair, everyone, I did just land back from Tassie not long ago, so this is why this is going to be a shit show. But here we go. Let's go.
Bizarre news stories.
Now, JT, I know that you've just come back from the map and it's fantastic that you've just landed here, but you would have to have been under a seriously big rock not to have heard. Of course, when the lead up to the Olympics, media are doing all they can to create headlines, to talk about, say, oh, that's bloody terrible, look, the Aussie bloody BMX guys, they got robbed and their shit was all scattered out through the park, and then the games start, and then what you find is you find two lots of media. You find the host broadcaster, or the people that have actually paid for the rights, and they want to put the best foot forward because they want the Olympics to go down in history for their station as fantastic. And then you've got everybody else, and it's their job to talk about the stories that are going to sell advertising space for people that aren't actually involved with the Olympics. And of course, you could not go past the opening ceremony. JT, I'm just going to put it right here, right now, a drag queen Last Supper. So get your head around that. We know that Paris is all arty and farty and very posh and stuck up, and it's a prick of a place to go if you don't speak French. I can tell you that from first-hand experience. But what I can tell you is they don't mind pushing the boundaries. You know, they've got the Moulin Rouge and all the stuff that gets people's attention and gets people talking, and the croissants and all the fancy stuff they've got over there. Croissants aren't that fancy. But, JT, one thing that nobody expected, was an outside opening ceremony, so not in a stadium.
Yep.
That in itself, I'm all for pushing the boundaries, but I reckon if I paid for a ticket and I had to stand on the side of the river and see, half a dozen boats go down with a few Aussies or, people in it, I reckon I would have felt a bit ripped off. Like, the ticket prices, for all accounts, weren't cheap, and nothing at the Olympic Games is cheap, but certainly the way they pushed the boundary. You had Celine Dion up there and the bloody Eiffel Tower. That was fantastic, and we had the Gaga having a crack, but seriously, the Last Supper is the bit that had people talking, and so much so, people being angry at the Olympic Games, going, how can you take the piss out of the Christian, the fact is something that is sacred in terms of the Last Supper in the Christianity world, and it's just the Olympic Committee have just said, nah, stuff it. Fair game. So, mate, what did you think? And importantly, all throughout this episode, we want the listeners to just let us know if you thought, shit, that was a bit bizarre, or, you know what, bloody good on them. So let us know your thoughts as we go.
That's exactly right. Throw it in the comments what you thought of the opening ceremony. Look, Donnie, I've got to say, and obviously it was on it started at 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's fair to say a lot of us didn't tune in and watch it live, and most watched it on replay the next day, and by then you'd probably already heard the headlines of what was good and what wasn't. So I did watch most of it, but I've got to say, look, it was pretty ordinary, I thought, to be honest, and I'm more interested, Donnie, because you're out of the two of us. One of us has been to the Olympics and one hasn't.
Paralympics. I did go to the Olympics to watch in Sydney, so I'm very mindful of that. So.
But and one of us has competed and one of us hadn't, so we'll let the viewers work out who that is. But mate,
the other one was on the catwalk and the other one wasn't.
But the stadium, mate, I mean, as an athlete, I mean, surely that is the stuff of dreams when you walk in, and you've carried the flag, mate. So when you walk into that stadium and you hear the roar for your country, and mate, they just didn't get that. They just got stuck on a bloody barge going down a river. Was that like, do you, as an athlete, do you go, geez, that's pretty shit, or do you go, oh, actually, no, good on them, that's great?
No, personally, I would have felt really ripped off. One of the things you have, there's always that line ball for the swimmers in particular, because they're first cab off the rank, and the athletes that are competing straight up, and they're not first, because sometimes in all times, the games actually start before the official opening ceremony, so there's the rounds of football and that sort of stuff. But One thing that every athlete who has the opportunity, and remember, for most athletes, you get one crack at this, maybe two for a few treats, right. 3, and then there's the really right out there ones that might do 4 and 5 Olympics or Paralympics, whatever, but they are rare. So really what we're talking about is one opportunity to walk into that stadium behind your fellow teammates and hear that roar, and not to have it. Like, I can only compare for Sydney, and for us to walk in there and have 90,000 plus people going off their tree because we've got the green and gold on and we're walking into that stadium. It's a noise that can't be replicated down the river. And so I feel for the French people in particular, the athletes, they've missed that. I mean, yes, it's good that they've gone down on the boat, but mate, nothing compares to that opening ceremony. And now they've changed the game, so it'll be interesting to see LA next time round, what they've learnt from these games, and of course we've got Brisbane coming up in 2032. So I am really hoping that they bring back the stadium just for the athletes' sake, because it is something very, very special.
And it seems to be the general consensus is that I think that's a pretty popular opinion, isn't it, that it fell flat and bring back the stadium. And let's not forget that 4 years ago, again, they lost that opportunity because of COVID to walk into big crowds. So, for some athletes, they're not going to get that opportunity in 4 years' time. And I'd hate to see people miss out on that and get a bit of a buzz when it's your country. And pretty shit, I thought. And some of the stuff, I mean, again, as you said, said, very arty and all that sort of crap. Mate, I didn't even get half the shit that they were trying to, whatever the theme was or whatever. And the faceless dude that kept appearing, it was just a bit weird for me.
And that's not sort of unusual, that a lot of the Olympics now is made for TV, so you get the computer generated version, for the TV, and then everything that by the time the actual athletes start to come in, which is the real stuff, apart from obviously a couple of performers. But I reckon that if I was to say a mark out of 10 for the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games for Paris, I reckon I'd give them a 2. And big shout out too, we've got Rodney Nugent on the line tonight, I just noticed as well. And Rodney's walked into enough stadiums to know exactly that feeling of representing a country, his country, and of course we saw Rodney do amazing things, and one of his comments was it's an amazing thing to march into a stadium, and he's bang on, mate. So don't take it from me, take it from somebody who actually got some medals in that space, JT, and some nice shiny ones. But I reckon crash and burn, missed by a long shot for the opening.
Mate, couldn't agree more. And, one of our viewers has already pointed out, the perfect segue for our next segment, Donnie.
Dickhead of the week.
You suck.
Now, Donnie, again, I played the wrong thing, but you got the audio, that's all that matters. Donnie, it's a shortened version of that intro, because it's just Dick of the Week, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's just Dick of the Week, JT.
Everyone has been talking about it. We are going into the gutter for this segment. So
straight there.
What the hell, mate?
Rarely do we get out of it, let's be honest. Like, this is the GiddyUp Podcast. We can go wherever we bloody like. We never claim to be... la-di-da here, we call it as we see it. JT, there is not a hotter topic right now in France than the bloke who knocked the bar with his bar. We're talking about pole vault. The pole vaulter is Anthony. What's his bloody name, JT? Anthony Amirati, I think I've got his name.
Yep,
JT,
Amirati, yep.
Have I got that right? You know you're doing all right, JT, when you got 5,000 Instagram followers. You hit the bar in pole vault with your old fella, and the next day you wake up, you got 50,000 Instagram followers, JT. So you only have to see the footage to know that, he's unfortunate in some ways, but he's absolutely made a name for himself. He will be remembered for the bloke that knocked over the pole vault bar with his bar. And, I think bloody good on him. Like, if you're fortunate enough to be in that situation, Anthony Eggplant, that's a fair call, Janine. I reckon it's unfortunate. I mean, you do all you can. But, JT, this is my advice. We spoke about the opening ceremony, and we know for a fact that the drag queens were in town. They were there for the opening. All old Anthony needed to do is go and have a chat with them. They would teach him how to pack his heat away, so he's no longer going to knock the bar over with his bar. Surely, JT, a bit of bloody, Hollywood tape could have put that thing away so that he was in better shape and gave himself a chance to be in the final. But anyway, bad luck.
Well, he was like literally one of the best in the world, wasn't he? And it cost him the spot in the final, yeah? It cost him a medal.
It cost him a chance. Like, he's a genuine contender, and of course when you're out, you're out. So and that's the thing about it. Like, these guys in high jump, in pole vault, when you watch them and they clear the bar, like, they've got literally air time, and you go, holy shit, you can make another 20 centimetres on that jump before you're even in doubt. So they've got the clearance, but the issue is when you're coming down, and of course you come down, you're too close to it, and obviously in this case his old mate was way too close to it, but it just one sort of nudge, or sometimes you see the high jumps, they bump it with their bum, and you go, okay, they didn't clear it, but clearly he'd cleared it, and unfortunately it was just way too close to the bar on the way down, JT. So, missed out. Another crash and burn over there.
That's exactly right. Now, Donnie, when you competed, you were in the pentathlon, so numerous events that you had to have a crack at. Mate, and obviously we've got the Paralympics coming up, starting on, I think, the 23rd of August, I think it is.
Yeah,
it kicks off. Mate, is that an event for our Paralympians?
The pentathlon?
No, the pole
vault.
Yeah.
No, JT. No, I mean, let's be honest. If you're already at the Paralympics, you've already got a disability. You don't need to be recruiting or reclassifying. Like, they took out the hurdles for the wheelies for that reason, because there was too many getting headaches. But no, there's some events that are not at the Paralympic Games, and pole vault's not there. Hurdles are not there. Genuinely, they're not there. And I don't think hammer throws made it in there either. So, but there are a few. I mean, there's a bloody lot of events. But what we do see, and we've seen it, is the jack of all trades, the decathlon. They're usually the first 2 days of the Olympic track and field program, and what I really like, JT, is that Australia, we get so cocky and confident that we're going to smash this world and beat everybody because we've got the swimming first, and we do really well in swimming. And let's be honest, the whole world don't swim, JT. Now, we did do a little Ready to Rumble a few weeks back on a podcast, and you just said there is bloody no place for swimming. It's a waste of space, useless sport. JT, now, Ariana Titmus, buddy, Emma McEwen, Kaylee. Who? JT, these people have had the Australian people up and cheering. Have you changed your mind yet? That's what I want to know.
Mate, no, not what. The only thing I'll soften a little bit on, because I was thinking about this because we were watching a bit of the swimming, and I thought I need to be fair. I've got to judge this fairly. You know, I've gone in with my views already, and they can change. So, and then I thought about it. And I thought again, my logic around why it's just a complete waste of space, Donnie, is because if you're in a shipwreck, you know, ship's sinking, Titanic's going down, and you jump in the water, and you go, shit, got to get to bloody shore here. No one's doing freaking backstroke or bloody butterfly, are they? It's just ridiculous. So I've softened my stance a little bit and gone, you know what? I'm down for freestyle because that's the quickest way from A to B. But what the hell is the point of the other strokes? They are useless. It is a waste of time. And I'll go one step further, Donnie. I'm not finished with that because, Donnie, listen to this. This is an example, Donnie. So in running, I mean, I love running. You got your 100 meters, 200, 400, 1500. It's the fastest person from A to B, right? That's the Olympics. I love it. True. And in swimming, fastest person from A to B is freestyle. I absolutely love it. It's like saying to the runners, all right, boys, we're going to start going bloody crab leg across and see who can crab leg the fastest from A to B. Okay, let's all start walking backwards and see who can get the fastest. It's a stupid concept. It is ridiculous, and the same applies to swimming. Sorry.
Well, JT, I want to know this. Did you ever go in a three-legged race at school?
Yep, the sack race, yep.
And so, the three-legged where you got to tie one leg to your partner and the
yeah. Stupid.
So,
fun, but
well,
stupid.
JT, what that does is it gets people excited about running and playing sport and being involved, and maybe a future Olympian or Paralympian. Me, I was the only person that was BYO with the three-legged race. I actually just carried my own. But anyway, I got disqualified, but I thought it was a bloody good idea. But JT, I am telling you now, there is scope, there is a place for swimming. My heart went out on a few occasions for the swimmers, but that, dare I say it, has probably now helped us put not a grinding halt, but certainly a slowdown on our medal tally opportunities, because as we know, the whole world don't swim, but the whole world pretty much does have a chance to have a run. So now that the athletics are there and it's a true world players, and you can see it when you watch the swimming, you know, you've got Australia, you've got America, China and the UK. I mean, they're the powerhouses in swimming, and then it sort of drops away a fair bit. So, but now we're seeing athletics and the other sports too, JT. I want to talk about some of the other sports. Now, some of them I'm interested in. I haven't actually had a chance to watch them. I didn't know that there was bloody up the wall climbing. Did you know that was on at the Olympics, JT?
Mate, what a fantastic event. There was a bit on earlier tonight. So, yeah, I did, and I love watching that. But, Donnie, this is unusual for the GiddyUp podcast. We actually have a serious question from one of our listeners. Murray has asked, so thanks, Murray, for the question. What are the events in the pentathlon?
Oh, JT. And Murray, bloody good question, mate. Well done. We'll whack you on the wheel just for asking a good question like that. The pentathlon, JT, I need to explain. The pentathlon has a couple of different versions. So the modern pentathlon has the fencing, the swimming, the horse riding. And so Kitty Chiller, former Australian modern pentathlete and former Australian chef de mission, put the modern pentathlon on the map, was very competitive at the Olympic Games. At the Paralympic Games in the pentathlon I competed in, I'm a below knee amputee, so our pentathlon was shot put, discus, 100, 400 and long jump. and it's all in the one day. So the girls, closest thing to that is the heptathlon, 7 events, and the girls will do that over 2 days. And then you've got the decathlon, and that's got the 10 events, and the boys do that over 2 days as well. So the pentathlon at the Paralympic Games is 1 day, go your hardest, and then, buddy, good luck. But super exciting event. And the thing I loved about it is you really never knew where the medals were going until the end of the last event, because you could be first on the run sheet, or first on the rankings after the first event, and then you could be down to 5th, after the second event. So it was bloody amazing being involved in that. But some of the things that I've witnessed at the Olympics, and I go, wow, somebody's going to be inspired by that. I remember being inspired by 1984 in particular was probably the first games that I really looked at. Oh no, that's a lie. I reckon there was probably about 1980 I had an interest, but 84, and you had Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis, there was all those sort of names, and then later on Frankie Frederick. So always typically around athletics, though I must admit, when I watch swimming and you've got Kieran Perkins, in lane 8, and we spoke about him the other week, the impact, Daniel Kowalski's, the Hayley Lewis, I mean, these people here that inspired a generation of people to have a crack. So I'm saying
freestylers, Donnie.
Yep,
good freestylers. Good freestylers they were.
Well, Madam Butterfly, you got Susie O'Neill, so you got Nicole Livingston or Stevenson back then, and she breaststroker. So
sorry, mate, you're breaking up. Sorry, mate, didn't catch all that. What was that? Something.
So JT, what I'm saying is there were some fantastic athletes, and they inspired athletes to play sport. And ultimately, I hope that's what happens with the Olympic Games. We have seen some different sports that aren't your mainstream. Like we see the national swimming champs on Channel 9 or whatever. But what I'm loving is, thank you, Kevin, some of these other events. I must admit, the first round of skateboarding, I thought, oh, that was frog shit, mate. I've seen better down the local skate park at Dingley. Like we literally, and not just from the Aussies, but across the board. I thought we were crap, and I thought skating we'd lost our plot. But then seriously to watch on, and of course to see Australia's youngest gold medal winner, that has been awesome. So 14 years old, and you just go 14 years, 86 days or something like that, and you just go, bloody how awesome. And what I love, JT, is seeing these kids just having fun before they get to the point that they've got all the voices in their head, and you see it and you hear as the athletes have spoken, those that have gone to a few games, and they've talked about the pressure and the demons and all this sort of stuff. And you only had to watch Harry the boxer, the torment that he put himself through after he lost, and the devastation that he was feeling for letting people down, letting the country down. I'm thinking, Harry, mate, you've let no one down. You've got out there, you are the man in the arena, and you have put everything you've got into this. You got beaten on the day, mate. That's sport, and that's what I say, the toughest critics for these athletes are not what you and I say or the media says. It's what they do to themselves, and it's really tough. And so I really hope that they do get the opportunity to remind themselves that they are Olympians, and once an Olympian, always an Olympian. And that's why it actually shits me when someone introduces somebody as an ex-Olympian. It's like, nah, there's no such thing, mate. You've got it. You're branded for life an Olympian. And I think it was awesome. There's been a few things that have annoyed me with these games, JT, and of course we like to focus on the positives. That's just the type of blokes you and I are. But we also don't shy away from the stuff that gives us the shits or annoys us. And what I've noticed is I actually haven't watched, and I tell you a lot, I don't watch a lot of TV. And so from the fact that I've been watching a lot of TV in the last week and a half, probably more TV than I've seen in the last 3 years, is testament to the fact that I'm still a fan of the Olympics. And what I've noticed is some things I just go, that would force me to turn it off. Now, hand on heart, I know Dylan Alcott, and we've been on teams together. When I turn on and see Dylan Alcott on hosting the Olympic Games, I want to turn it off. Shits me to tears. I just think, you flog. Where are first and foremost, where are the Olympians that have earned the right to host the Olympic Games? I mean, this guy put Paralympics in the spotlight and people with disabilities. I want to see him doing that at the Paralympic Games. When I see Ellie Cole, wonderful young lady, awesome athlete, was good on the jungle, incredible swimmer, Paralympic swimmer, JT. I want to see Ali hosting and interviewing at the Paralympics. You know what I want to see at the Olympics? I want to see Hayley Lewis. I want to see Kieran Perkins. I want to see Daniel Quinn. I want to see Lauren Burns, Joe Fox. You know, the people that won gold and are our Olympic champions. Where are they? This bullshit about bringing in these people with disabilities to commentate and take this space. Mate, if I'm an Olympian sitting at home and I can put two words together, and I've got some history as a commentator, I am watching that coverage and I am filthy. I am filthy that almost tokenism. I mean, yes, I know that Dylan is the bloody Australian of the Year and it's probably earned him some rights. But you know what? They could have used him better by having him out and about and doing a little bit of, patting some athletes on the back and giving some morale boosting Australian spirit shit, not hosting the broadcast. They lost me with that. So anyway, JT, what are your thoughts on that?
Mate, well, as many of our listeners have already commented, I couldn't agree more with that one, Donnie. There's just so many other people I'd love to be hearing from. And, I have not met Dylan, but to me, it doesn't come across overly genuine from my liking. And I would rather, as you said, commentate on the Paralympics, no problems, knock yourself out, because you're speaking from experience. And as a viewer, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear, put me in the shoes, tell me about what the athletes should be experiencing in this moment, the training preparation they went through, all that sort of stuff. That's what I want to hear. And so when I'm hearing from Dylan, who hasn't been there, done that, not okay. And I think there's also been some criticism at Tubby Taylor, right, because he's commentating the diving. Now, again, as a cricketer, love listening to the guy, right? His knowledge, a former captain, mate, his knowledge is exceptional. But, what does he know about
Where's
diving?
Dean Puller?
Yeah, that's right. Surely
Dean Puller,
there's
Olympic bronze medalist in diving, JT, can put some words together. Did a bit of work with Dean over the years and seriously, a bloody good commentator. And you know what I reckon there's a little bit of this as well, and there's always going to be when you're dealing with networks, is the Bruces, the Deans, the people that have done some work with 7, 9 want to go different. They every time they want to step out, they want to do something, a bit like Paris with the outdoor stuff. But I think what needs to happen is 9 need to look at this and go, this is a unique space. Because I tell you what, and I put it up for one of our topics to discuss later on, JT, around the AFL media. Now, I'm happy to go straight there because, as I said, it's
just
really
go there.
relevant.
Just go there.
It's relevant, JT. Now,
but before you go there,
I like it. Well done, mate. JT, now the AFL have introduced a social inclusion clause to diversify the presentation of football at Channel 7 and Fox from 2025 onwards. So 2025, JT, what we can expect is this woke bullshit coming to play in every game of footy. So no longer will it be blokes that have just played footy and they know what they're talking about, but we're going to have this this want to be everything to everyone. Now, the AFL already pushed that boundary. But, JT, this is where I call bullshit, right? Because if we're going to go down this path, and already we're seeing Channel 9 glimpses of it with the Olympics, if we're going down there, then we are expecting every single minority group to be able to, what are we going to have? Drag queens doing boundary riding? Are we going to have, let's be honest, we need to see, JT, that in my view, the people that know what they're talking about, that out there sharing that, just like you said before, trying to be tokenistic, the bloody everything to everyone. If they're going to do half-ass job, then I want them to do a full-ass job, JT. I want them to have the likes of somebody with a speech impediment up there commentating, because then they'll see that what they should do is keep it for courses, JT. Let the people that are bloody good at it, people that are qualified, do what they do and stop trying to be bloody Mother Teresa and save the whole world. JT, enough's enough. It's annoying, and you know what it does is it makes me pick up the button and turn off the TV, because I think it's absolute crap.
Mate, couldn't agree more. It's we're getting into this world where we've just got to meet quotas rather than actually rewarding for competence. And if it comes to commentary, again, if I want to watch the AFL, I want to be hearing from experts that, the former players who have just retired or the former coaches or whatever, who are offering some fantastic insight into the game. Like, oh, wow, I didn't, know that what a full ground press was or whatever the hell it was, right? Why they're asking the players to do this, why they're changing their sub strategy, whatever the hell it is, right? And the only people that are qualified to do that are former players and former coaches. And quite frankly, that's who I want to hear from. And if I want to watch AFLW, I would expect to be hearing from female commentators because they also have the experience of playing at the elite level as a female and the different, training and different tactics and all that sort of stuff they've got to go through. And I don't need to be hearing from one of the male guys when I'm watching female sport. It's getting ridiculous. What we should be doing is rewarding. It's the same in jobs or boards that have got quotas for ex-female directors and stuff. It's bullshit. Start rewarding for people for the actual skills and experience that they bring to the table. If you're just doing it to tick boxes and meet quotas, we are stuffed. It doesn't matter whether it's commentary, bloody management boardrooms, whatever. It is a ridiculous rate to run the world.
JT, there is a way though, and I get it, and I can understand what the AFL want to do. Is they want to broaden their horizon and go out to the masses. That's why you look at the Mason Cox and the American experiment and playing games. Well, I tell you what, JT, what they can do is they can have apps. So like go on to 9Gem or these other. I'm not even sure if it's bloody 9Gem, but go on and say right.
Look at you.
This one here. Well, I just plucked that out because I'll tell you, I've been watching the Olympics, I see a lot of time. But you can, they should have, and say, righto, like they did, they had the Indigenous...
the commentary guys. Yeah, it's right, yeah.
Correct. And so what it did is it said, right, if you want to experience that, here's the station you can do it. It's not going to be mainstream because mainstream is going to be the best of the best, and these guys might be the minority groups might be very, very good. They might be the best, and if that's the case, so be it. But I reckon there's a platform for them. I'm not saying don't let anyone have a chance, JT. I'm saying don't ram it down the throats of people that are just happy to tune in and see the best of the best of what they know. So, yep, I'm with you. I think there's a space, but it's not mainstream. Minorities need to stay minorities, JT. And when we start confusing that, we're kidding ourselves.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, now, Donnie, not on the run sheet, mate. So you're suddenly going, what have I
done to me? I've got the run sheet on a big TV and this is new. Right, here we go. What do you got?
This is a chance when sometimes we have difference of opinion. Sometimes we don't. But and it's my job to raise the unpopular thing because I normally lose these. But I'm going to have another crack, Donnie, because I think we mentioned earlier that we all thought fantastic about our gold medalist. That was, how old was she? Oh, it's on our run sheet here, 14 years old anyway. Right?
14 years,
yeah. Well, I mean, fantastic, and once an Olympian, always Olympian, blah, blah, blah. Well, I call bullshit, Donnie, because at 14 years old, you don't even know what the freaking hell you're doing, mate. You haven't done the hard yards. You haven't been training for years to appreciate this, level that you have reached, all right? You might be the best 14-year-old in the country, but are you really the best, mate? I'm not sure. And just like the AFL have got a minimum of 18 now to compete at the AFL, and we all had, back in the day, we had the 16-year-olds who came in and dominated. They were great. But my question to you, Donnie, and my question to the listeners is, should there be a minimum age in the Olympics of 18 so you're an adult and it is not children that are being exploited? Yes, we won the, what was it, in skateboarding, whatever the hell it was, but you look at some of the gymnasts as well, some of the countries are known for, being pretty harsh on some of their young athletes, etc. Should there be a minimum age in the Olympics?
Well, JT, what you're asking for... No, that's okay. What you're asking for is you're saying that you're asking for a special consideration. And I say there shouldn't be...
Blanket, 18-year-old for everyone. For every sport, 18 years old. Minimum, you have to be an adult. You have to be recognised as an adult. Because otherwise we're just exploiting kids, aren't we? So shouldn't you just have to be an adult before you're competing?
But if you are, what I think is, I want to see the best of the best. If a 14-year-old kid can beat an 18-year-old because they're fearless in skateboarding and that's what they've bloody done, then, mate, I want to see the best. I don't want to go, oh, no, I'll take second best in Australia because they're 18. Bullshit. If you're good enough, you've earned the right to... JT, what I would question is where are the nationals? I must admit, I don't know much about skateboarding, but I figured where do they compete to actually get onto this team? And where are the Tony Halls of the world? Are there no adults? I mean, you see the blokes and they seem to be a bit older, but certainly they all look very young, the kids that were doing skateboarding. And my point is simple. If they are the best, then I want to see them at the Olympics. I'm not interested in an age thing. Couldn't give a shit if they're 80 or 8. If they are the best in the world, line them up. They've earned their right. Because when they're 16, maybe their body's developed or the fear kicks in or the mental head case gets the better of them and they're not going to be good enough. So I reckon put the best out there, stuff the age bracket.
Yep, I knew I'd lose this one, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway. All right, now, Donnie, we, like every show, we always have our trivia questions, and we give away some prizes on the wheel. Donnie, what are the prizes for our listeners tonight?
JT, I'm looking here for the game. The game, JT, we've got a couple of tickets to the football. I'm looking for my secret sponsor. I still can't tell you who it is. But the game, JT, we've got a ticket for the Melbourne versus Port at the MCG. And I reckon that might be this weekend's game. I don't know. I'll have to look that up in the ad because I actually don't know when I'm pretty sure it's this weekend, JT. So Melbourne versus Port at the MCG are the tickets. And we've also got, how many questions we got? We're going to have three, JT.
Two questions tonight.
Right, 2 questions. So one is going to be for the one's going to be for the tickets to the footy, and one's going to be for a bottle of Spank, JT. And of course, we know Spank is the finest refreshments you can whack your laughing gear around. And there's every chance if you get through the bottle, you'll be in line to go to the Paralympics because you will be legless or blind or paralytics or whatever you want, but you will be ticking all those boxes, JT. So stay tuned.
All right. Well,
Saturday in the G it is, JT. Saturday, I've just had my in-house producer tell me it's
thanks, Buff.
Saturday night. Yeah, Buff's here. We're on the road for work. Hey, JT, Buff, just on that, Buff celebrates today 1 year working with me, the best boss she's ever had, she said, and because she's over there, she doesn't get a chance to refuse that. So 1 year today.
Well done, Buff.
Working with me.
Well done. That deserves a bloody round of applause and a medal, and I'm sure you're going to take her out for dinner and celebrate and a massage and everything, Donnie. You're going to look after her.
Was just going to have a couple of bottles of Spank, JT. Call tonight.
Donnie. All right, so our first trivia question tonight, courtesy of Donnie, who's put together these very tough questions, Donnie. You've gone hard.
We've got a very educated Olympiado bloody special group of people that listen to us, JT.
That's true. They'll probably smash these out of the ballpark. So, all right, your first question, as per usual, we've got 30 seconds, and A, B, C, or D is all we want to see in the answers. Your first trivia question is, Nadia Comaneci scored the first perfect 10 in gymnastics in what year? Was it A, Berlin 1936, B, Melbourne 1956, C, Montreal 1976, or Atlanta 1996? What year, what Olympics did Nadia Comaneci score the first perfect 10 in gymnastics? A, 1936, B, 1956, C, 1976, or D, 1996? You've got 5 seconds left to get your answers in.
JT, I reckon it's going to be a year with a 6 in it. That's my guess.
Good tip. Great tip. There it is, people.
Oh, they've come in thick and fast. And I tell you what, it looks like there's a few people that know their stuff, JT. I thought I was being a bit clever there with all the 6s. It's bloody useless, mate.
Donnie, I've been set up here, I'll tell you.
Yeah. But did you know that? Everyone knew that, Montreal.
I must admit I did. And I was actually thinking, was it 96? Because I was just like, the name was very familiar. I knew it wasn't the first two, but I was like, it's very familiar. Was it not? It was 96. So, yeah, I genuinely wasn't quite sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I definitely remember it as a kid hearing about it. So, and of course, if you just look at each of those games, like Berlin, Jesse Owens, 1936, like that was, multiple gold medals. That was a huge one. You got Melbourne there, 1956. You got Dawn Fraser, and of course, the other former, previous youngest gold medal winner of. Prior to that was Sandra. What was her name? Sandra. I had it there. Sandra Morgan. She was 14 years old and 183 days old. And, of course, she was our youngest gold medalist up until then. And then, of course, JT, what were the other years? Montreal, of course, that was Nadia. Huge year. And Atlanta. JT, tell me something that you remember from Atlanta, and I'll tell you something that I remember.
Atlanta, I'm going to say, was the archery, wasn't it? The opener. Was that Atlanta? Or was that Los Angeles?
No, that was Barcelona in 92. In Atlanta
in 96, it was Muhammad
Ali.
Was that
Muhammad Ali lit
the
cauldron, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Remember this? The bomb in Bicentennial Park. Do you remember that? The bag bomb. It was a bomb that was left beside the stage. And of course, I was competing in Atlanta a few weeks after the Olympics, and so we heard the bomb threat, and of course the bomb went off and that sort of stuff. Big news it was at the time. So of course that when security took another huge leap forward to make sure athletes were safe. It was a bloody terrible thing. But yeah, JT, every Olympics has stories, and this Paris is no different. So I love the Olympics, JT. Righto, so who is our winner? Did we get a winner? A lot of people are going to be on the board, JT. This is good.
There's a lot of names.
Actually, every single person got it right. Good on you, smart people. Love your work.
Awesome. Great.
JT's going to wear out his fingers, mate.
Well, Donnie, I'm going to start loading those on. So, Donnie, while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you the stinger, mate, because you got a bit of a rant, and I love a good I love a good Donnie rant. So,
JT, I'm telling you, mate, I have not watched a lot of TV. Now, that's not news. I tell you every week that I don't watch much. But I can tell you when I do tune in, I expect decent quality television. Because let's be honest, if I don't want anything of good quality, I can just watch the GiddyUp podcast. But when I watch TV, I expect quality. When I see ads and I just go, that contradicts everything I'm experiencing, then I get pissed off. Now, my point is this, JT. Telstra must in some way, shape or form have a big budget, but they are sponsoring in some way, shape or form the Olympics, or at least blanketing the advertising during the Olympics. And I am so sick of seeing these bullshit animals that they're not even real animals. They're just made up crap about how awesome their service is. And every time I turn my phone on when I'm out the bush doing some great work for some organisations and connecting the community, and I can't get quality service, I'm thinking, shove your ads up your coit and just bloody get your service right. And if you don't get your service right, don't spruik about crap that you're not good at. So JT, my rant is simple. Get real animals, Telstra, or better still, put the animals aside and fix your bloody service. Please.
I must admit, I was talking to Nan about this last week ago. Have you seen those Telstra ads? Because they are so shit. And my thinking was that maybe the clever marketing is that they're just so shit that we're all talking about, have you seen those Telstra ads because they're so shit? And they've kind of done their job because we're talking about Telstra.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, hopefully Media Monitors tomorrow. Is Media Monitors still a thing? Or whoever it is that there will be somebody in the media department.
Great show.
There'll be somebody, and it's their job to pick up every time Telstra is mentioned, and then they take that along to the media team and they talk about it and make sure there's nothing that they need to fix. But JT, here I am frozen right now, and we're using Telstra services. Not good enough, JT. We're talking about them because they're shit, not for the right reasons. Telstra, lift.
Yeah.
It's the Olympics.
Couldn't agree more.
The bar's high.
It is very, very high at the Olympics. We expect better. Now, Donnie, well, I don't know why, but you've queued it up for this stinger, and maybe you'll be able to explain why.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
JT, I've got to tell you, mate, I was just throwing shit into the run sheet. I didn't really care where it went. So, anyway, customer service fail. I can see what's going on here. I see how you're trying to position me into this. No, okay. JT, one of the interesting things, remember I said before there's two types of media. Those that have actually paid to be rights holders and get legitimate interviews, and they've got a ticket to be in the games. They got some credit. Then there's the outside mob, and the outside mob are just trying to push and make up stories and get them to go viral, and people talk about them. One of the things that I did pick up, JT, was the conversation around the beach volleyball outfits. And in the early days, before you start getting the really good ones playing, you get everyone having a crack. And that said, you're going to get some teams there that are pretty shit. That's the nature of sport. You have your heats, and then they go through to semis and finals and whatever. And one of the stories that got pushed out, JT, was that the beach volleyball players were wearing pants, wearing tights. So not showing off their bums and their sexy bits that people have come to watch beach volleyball for, because they're wearing next to nothing. And
so they're wearing the 2XUs and those sorts of things.
Correct.
The lycra sort of tight pants, yeah. Because it's cold, right? And I assume they wanted to keep warm.
Well, no, JT, it certainly wasn't cold. But the argument is, JT, that they're not there to be sexualised. They're there to play sport and do the best they can. But
wouldn't matter what they're wearing, Donnie. Yep. Well, they're there to watch the sport.
They're there to watch the sport and be the best. But I do have a question. I go, what the bloody hell? How's it going to help you wearing extra layers when you're already sweating your bits off? Surely you actually want to... Is this a team that is woke and said, right, we're going to wear this now, and everybody gets to choose what they wear? Like, I was a bit like... Personally, when I watch beach volleyball, JT, I'm expecting to see the best beach volleyballers. I really don't give a shit what they're wearing, but I was curious that there was an argument for why they're wearing pants. I didn't know what it was, and I was hoping one of our listeners might know why on earth all of a sudden, instead of just a two-piece, the beach volleyball players are wearing, tights. So if somebody could tell me that.
I would have thought it's the smart thing to do. Remember all the controversy over the swimmers because they were wearing... those essentially, whatever they're called, lycra, for want of better wording, that was actually enhancing performance, right?
The swimsuits,
Yeah, and they ended up banning them and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sort of wondering a little bit if it's not the same with the beach volleyball, that, if you're wearing compression garments, it can actually enhance performance. And given so much of that sport is that vertical leap, if that's going to actually give you another 1 or 2%, whatever, I call smart.
Well, I tell you what, JT, I will look at it and say the smartest ones are the ones that are wearing what they're comfortable in, that helps them feel dynamic when they're standing on the podium, when they get to the podium. So in terms of what else they're wearing, I really couldn't give a rat's, to be honest. So I put it there because when I read the story, I thought, this might blow up and be interesting, but really wasn't that bloody interesting at all, JT.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move straight on to our next one, which, again, probably in the wrong segment.
Once upon a time.
Now, Donnie, there's been some changes made to the Australia's incoming passenger card. Tell us what got you fired up.
No, not fired up at all. Well, I sort of should be fired up. I do travel a little bit, JT. I'll probably knock over about 4, maybe 5 international trips this year. And one thing that annoys the crap out of me is that everything is electronic now. And unfortunately, the customs people, they don't even stamp your passport. Which, for me, was awesome, because I would go through my old passports, go, I've left the country here, went there. And instead I started writing notes in my passport to say, okay, well, I've now left Australia on this date, I was going on this trip, and then I got pulled up for it, and some people said, customs flogs in another country, said, you can't write your passport, okay, no worries, and I said sorry for that. But what annoyed me, JT, is that we are still coming into the country, and you put your passport into the machine, everything is digital. You're tracked to your last breath electronically. And then we're still filling out these bullshit passenger cards that get dropped in a bloody no one actually cares about it, JT. So now what I've seen, and finally Australia is finally stepping into the 21st bloody century. They're talking around getting rid of it. And you know why they're getting rid of it, JT? It's because they're suggesting that it will create $50 billion a year of new revenue coming into the country by scrapping the passenger card. Personally, I call bullshit. I don't think that's the case at all. But will people coming to Australia just go, oh, good, this is like every other country in the world now, where we're not filling out. You're on a plane, you're half pissed, and you've got to find a pen. The hosties don't like handing theirs out, and you've got to fill this form out in the middle of the night or put the light on and wake all your neighbours up just to hand it for nothing, JT. Most useless piece of paper ever bloody invented. So, JT, it's going. It's not gone yet, but it's going.
Well, I call bullshit on the extra $50 billion. What a load of crap that is.
So, crap.
But, Donnie, I am worried if they do pull it, though, because, mate, what are we going to do on Border Force security? For everyone who watches the show will know that when you pull people up and they say, but you tick the box and said, what are we going to do, mate, if that doesn't exist? That show's doomed.
We'll give these people more power. We'll give them a lollipop stand and they can stop traffic or something to give them the power they really are missing out on. But it is crazy, JT, that you use electronic gates to come and go and you declare whether you've been to South Africa and all this shit, and yet we're still filling in that form. So anyway, here's hoping that it's gone soon. And it's not to say that you shouldn't do that form, but it can be done electronically now, and that's my point.
Okay, well, mate, moving right along on this show, we are getting towards the end, so it means there's good things that are going to be happening. One is our next trivia question, because I need a bit of time to get the names on the board.
Yes.
So our next trivia question is another Olympic thing put together by yours truly, Donnie Elgin. So Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, your final trivia question for tonight. Between 1960 to 2024, how many times has Australia hosted the Olympics? A, 0, B, 1, C, 2, or D, 3? Between 1960 to 2024, how many times has Australia hosted the Olympics? A, 0, B, 1, C, 2, or D, 3? 5 seconds left on the clock. Get your answers in now for a bottle of Spank, a chance at some footy tickets.
Oh, yes.
It's all happening.
This is exciting, JT. And of course, we've got Brisbane coming up, Sydney. Oh, let's have a look. How many people got this right, JT?
The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is... Donnie, the answer is B.
It is, JT. The
1.
answer is B.
Donnie, can you explain to our listeners why the answer is B, please?
Absolutely, JT. JT, in 1956, Melbourne hosted the Olympic Games. In the year 2000, Sydney hosted the Olympic Games. Sydney was the only games that have been between 1960. So a little bit of a trick question. I was trying to play.
You were trying to stooge our listeners, Donnie.
I did, and I think I did stooge a few. And JT, of course, in 2032, Brisbane will host those games, and they will be something else. And I'm really glad. Hey, hats off, Murray. You asked a brilliant question before, and in the lead up to the Paralympic Games, what I can tell you is it's highly likely that we'll make one of those trivia questions a little bit personal. So remember those 5 events, mate, because I reckon it will come back to work in your favour in a couple of weeks' time for a Paralympic edition of Giddy Up. So JT, this is good. We've got there's only a couple to add to that, and
mate,
sadly Melissa got it wrong.
You really stumped him on that one, Donnie.
Yep, look at me go. But anyway, I just remember, I still like you, even though I was trying to stitch us up. Better than your silkworm, JT, where they all got that right, buddy.
I know, some smart listeners out there. So, but for once, I'm not the bad guy, mate, with the question. So that's good. You take the medal for that. So we are going to have some fun trying to get the big wheel going, because my extra monitor that normally does the wheel is just not playing right now. But I'll find a way to get it on screen, don't worry. So, mate, but before we do that, Donnie, of course, it wouldn't be a segment without, one of the, I'd say popular, but everyone just basically just pays out on me, Donnie, but I'm going to give it a crack.
Dad joke of the week.
Donnie, I'm Gonna try. That's all you can do in life, isn't it? Let's be honest. All you can do
your best, James.
is try.
It's
So
Olympic motto: higher, stronger, faster.
all right, Donnie. So it's just gone off the screen. Never a good start. All right. So Donnie, there were a few ducks in the park blowing bubbles, and a police officer came along and gave them a ticket. Now, they went to court, and the first duck went in to see the judge. And the judge asked, well, what is your name, and why are you here? And the duck says, well, my name is Quack, and I'm here for blowing bubbles in a park. And the judge said, well, that's not a crime. You're free to leave. Send the next duck in. So the next duck comes in, and the judge asks, well, what's your name, and why are you here?
That's good going.
And the duck says, well, my name is Quack, 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 and I'm here for blowing bubbles in the park. And the judge replied, well, mate, that's not a crime. You're free to go as well. Please send in the next duck. So the next duck comes in, and this has got me. And the judge says, let me guess, your name is Quack, 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 and you're here for blowing bubbles in the park. And the duck says, no, my name is Bubbles.
Oh, JP, we didn't even talk about the sex in the Olympic Village, but I think we just summed it. We didn't need to. You've done it all there. I can't believe you run that out as a dad joke, but that's pretty. I thought that was pretty good.
I didn't have much time left, so to be fair, so that's all I could do. Now we do have the wheel coming up at some point, and oh God knows what's going on right now. Hang on, bear with me. Jesus, there's no love, Donnie. I'm getting paid out on again. One day someone will appreciate my dad jokes.
I liked it. I did.
Thanks, Sonny. I appreciate it. All right. Now, I'm going to try. This is just a bit of an experiment here. I'm going to try and see if we can get the wheel up on our screen. So this really could go any pear shape. Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. But anyway, let's see if I can work this out.
Is it here? Yeah.
No, I reckon I can sort of try. Yeah, I'll shrink it. I'll get it. I'll work it out somewhere. This is the
it just
bubbles
keeps coming back
up.
to haunt us. The duck.
I know, right? I can almost get it on the screen there. Look, it's so close, isn't it? We can see the name. That's pretty close. Let's see if I can just shrink it up. There we go. It's a bit of a small one, but it's on. That's about as good as I can get tonight, right? So, all right, Donnie. So, what's the plan, mate? There's a bottomless bank on this footy tickets, right? So,
yeah, I reckon let's go bottomless bank first. And then we'll redraw. Well, we'll draw again, and then the second spin wins the tickets to the footy.
All right, mate. Count me in. I'm all yours.
First. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Good luck, humans. If you're on the wheel, it's because you're smart.
Went early on the sound. We have a slight problem there.
Yeah, you know what I talked about. If you're good enough,
Donnie,
you should be at the Olympics.
Donnie,
I tell you what. Let's redraw, JT. Let's redraw.
All right, let's
because
redraw.
Because we know that's an underage person.
We do. We can't condone underage drinking.
We can't even give it away for him to give it to someone because you'll probably give it to his school.
Oh, he's gonna get it again.
JT, that is hilarious. He's only about 6 years.
All right, I'm going to redraw again.
Right, last if he wins it again, we have to come up.
If he has to get it,
prize.
He's going to skull it if he gets it.
Yeah, who's got it this time?
There we go, Kevin A.
Kevin's got it. Well done, Kevin. Oh, well done. Righto, so Kevin gets the bottle. He's that's very, very funny. Righto. Okay.
All right, so this is for the tickets, Donnie.
This is for the tickets, mate.
Yep. All right, so Donnie, I need you to count me in, my friend.
Yep. This is MCG Saturday night. Melbourne versus Port. 3, 2, 1. Make it spin, JT now.
I reckon.
You're a winner, mate.
When it's your night, it's your night, right? It's
Yep. When you're on, you're on.
And, I agree. It's bloody completely rigged. What is going on?
Well, I'm glad I'm in Bendigo and I've got no control over that at all. The good thing is, JT, that you run the wheel. So when it all goes pear-shaped or flat, it's all on you. So
Mate, if I was going to rig it,
well done, Hayden.
I'd be getting the bloody tickets if I was going to rig it. Trust me, I haven't been once.
Maybe you could take Hayden on Sunday.
Well done,
night,
well done,
There
Hayes.
you go. He can
well
drive
done.
for you.
Yeah, he's got a few bottles of Spank he might want to give away. Well done, Hayes. Congratulations, and thanks everyone for
Well done,
playing
Hayes.
along as you always do.
Well done,
now,
Kev.
Now, Donnie, we've got to wrap it up because we've been going nearly an hour. But we always leave everyone with a final thought, Donnie. And I thought in Olympics week, it's never a more poignant time to have a final thought. And I love the fact that there's not one on the run sheet, which just really puts you under the pump. So watch this. Donnie is going to come up with a final thought in about 6 seconds. Now, Don, that was just the test. That was just the audio. There's no actual
I was going to
swearing.
say, if that's
So-
my stinger,
No, this is yours. This is it.
what do you got there? JT, in an Olympic edition of the GiddyUp Podcast, I would like to do a huge shout out to the Olympians, the first timers, second timers, the dual, the triple Olympians, and my final thought goes directly to them and every other human, and that is very simple. Your best is good enough. You cannot cheat your best. You'll know if you've done your best, but your best is good enough, and celebrate it.
There we go. Always poignant words from Donnie. Everyone, thanks for watching on our Olympic special. Next week, we will be here with a wrap-up of all things Olympics. We'll have had a bit more time to prep as well because I won't have been interstate. Happy birthday, Nance, if you're watching. Hope you had a wonderful 50th.
Happy birthday, Nant.
The big 5-0. And we look forward to seeing everyone next week, hopefully on Wednesday night. But we'll get that out and confirm it with you very soon.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the games.
Well done. Go Aussies. See you, everyone.